Muchas gracias, ministro, por venir hoy. We're seeing pressure on the peso from trade deficit numbers. How are you seeing global external demand affecting your finances, especially with the weakness in China, one of your biggest trading partners?
Nosotros estamos afrontando también una
We are also
desaceleración.
facing challenges here. Like the rest of the world, we are being impacted by reduced imports, particularly of intermediate goods and durable consumer goods. Our concern is to what extent we can replace them with domestic production. That's what we are striving for with the issue of reindustrialization.
Todavía hemos visto.
Still, the Colombian peso has been very strong this year. How is this affecting your monetary policy path?
Hemos llegado a una tasa de cambio que se ha estabilizado alrededor de los 4.000.
We have reached an exchange rate that has stabilized between 4,100 and 4,200. We have a reduction in inflation rate, and it is expected that this means the benchmark rates will remain stable this month. Currently, the benchmark rate is above the inflation rate, but in 2 or 3 months from now, we will review when it may be appropriate to start lowering it because we aim to achieve a 9.2 inflation rate.
Hemos visto otros bancos centrales.
We've seen central banks in economies such as Canada and Australia that paused hiking rates but then resumed tightening. Is there a risk that that might happen in Colombia?
It is indeed a risk, which is why it is expected that there won't be any changes to the benchmark rates this month, as the current benchmark rate is already above the inflation rate. If inflation continues to decrease, it would pave the way for potential rate cuts.
Hemos visto bancos centrales.
We've seen the Fed and the ECB and other central banks sounding very hawkish. How will higher interest rates for longer affect developing economies like Colombia?
More than what is happening externally, we are affected by the fact that the previous government froze fuel prices, which has limited our ability to lower inflation at the desired pace. While food and other goods are decreasing in price, fuel costs are rising. We need to ensure that the increase in fuel prices does not negatively impact the overall inflation outlook.
We've seen some of the reform efforts from the government spook investors. What's the risk on investment flows into local markets?
The reform that most concerns investors is the pension reform. However, the pension system already has 2 specific contexts. First, there is a consensus that the arbitrage between private funds and colpensiones should be eliminated. This means building a base pillar system with its base as colpensiones. The discussion revolves around determining the threshold or eligibility criteria for pensions in the current context. The threshold for pensions is currently set at 3 minimum wages. The second topic is whether there will be a savings fund. The answer is yes, there will be one. It will be associated with colpensiones, but will have governance and administration that allows participation in the capital market, not only in public debt, but also in stocks and other securities.
The political climate in Colombia has affected investor sentiment. Will there be more stability?
The idea is indeed for the government to regain a parliamentary alliance to continue implementing various reforms and make progress. The president has always stated that he came to bring about real change, not just cosmetic changes. What we need to do is identify where those proposals stand and engage in public discussion. After all, the reforms are approved by Congress.